That's a good question. As a writer, you need to know your genre. You need to know what you're writing for. It has to have a name, and you have to be able to fit it into one of the categories that the festivals are looking for. And every festival, I mean, I guess everybody has a romantic comedy category. There's a horror category. There's an action-adventure category. But then there are some very specialized categories, like female buddy category, things like that. Or one festival I know of had the Western musical category, which was really odd. There's some really really interesting stuff came out of people submitting, with that, under that genre. So you have to, as a writer, know your genre and know which festivals are looking for that particular type of work. Every festival is different, so you have to really do your research. And there are a lot of festivals out there, but do the research to find out what they're looking for, and also find out which festivals are going to give you the most as far as exposure and proximity to distribution or to other producers or to get your next work done. You have to do your homework. There's no easy way around it.
Okay. Since you are a producer and now you're stepping into the director's shoes as well, where do you find the scripts? Do you write them yourself? Do you know somebody that writes them for you, or how do you find the scripts?
Lots of ways. Some people walk up to me and want to hand me a script, which is
Can I do that too?
Probably not the best thing to do, to hand me the hardcover. You need to have a pitch. They talk about when it comes to people who are in business, they have to have an elevator pitch. You should have an elevator pitch for your script as well, or the synopsis or the log line or something. And you should be able to tell it in about 15 seconds. And you should be able to capture my attention in those 15 seconds. And if you do, and it's a cold call, I mean, I really don't know you, and you just walk up to me, I might say, oh, you know what? That sounds good. Send it to me. Or let me, if you have let me have it. I think that's probably the best thing, just to know your script and be able to sell it in 15 seconds or less.
But how do you find your scripts?
People, they'll tell me about it. People that I know will email their scripts to me. I meet people at networking events all the time, and they'll say, I have something, would you mind looking at it? Sometimes they just want a critique. I mean, it's any number of ways. I was at an event that was a networking event, but was really more like a party. A screenwriter came up to me with a hardcover notebook with his script in it and asked me to take it and read it. And I did, but I wasn't really happy because I had to carry that thing around with me the rest of the night.
Aww.
So yeah, it wasn't a good idea for him to do it that way, but I did take it. I'm not saying everybody would, but I took it and I read it. It wasn't exactly the type of script that I was looking for, but they come in on all different ways. You never know.
Do you do any perusing on the internet for scripts?
I have, and sometimes if I'm looking for a particular type of script, I will put out a call for scripts. And
where do you do that?
I'm sorry?
Where do you do that? Do you like Craigslist or something, or do you use a particular website?
Yeah, I use websites. I don't use Craigslist for it. I'll use Mandy.com is one of my favorites for all things film, for looking for scripts, for looking for cast, for crew. It's just one of the best sites. Sometimes I will go to screenwriting sites as well, sites like yours that have scripts to offer, and I'll look through. Although for me, it's a little bit difficult to figure out what I'm looking for there because there's so much. So if I could go to the site and put in a request and then get the kinds of films that I'm looking for, that would probably be better.
Okay.
You can try SimplyScripts.
I'm sorry?
People come on there. You can try SimplyScripts. People wonder all the time. They say, I'm looking for this and that,
Yeah. I've been on your site. I think your site is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
You have all kinds of things on that site and things I would never have even thought of. I go, oh, my goodness, I could get this here? Oh, my gosh, this is so great. No, your site is one of the best ones out there. And I've seen a lot of script sites, a lot of them.
What types of film do you prefer, personally, to produce?
You know what? I really don't have a preference. I just like a really good story, and it could be comedy, it could be silly, it could be horror, it could be cheeky. It's just if it's a good story, or it's a good laugh, or a good heart-wrenching something. It just has to be a good story.
So a writer is having trouble getting things produced. Do you recommend that the writer go out and try to produce it himself or herself? And how hard do you think it is for them to just step into those shoes and go and do it?
I don't think it's so much that it's a difficult thing to do. It's time consuming. You have to be committed to the process, because now instead of just being a writer, you're going to become the producer. And I mean, you can produce it very simply, but is that going to satisfy you as the creator? Is this the way you want your vision put out there? But should you try it? I think you absolutely should try it. Why not? It's just a time commitment.
I have a question to them. We have a lot of members at SimplyScripts who, also would like to become filmmakers and that sort of thing. And you have, you said, 8 years of experience, and you made some feature films and lots of shorts. What is your background? Did you go to film school or something, or did you just decide that, this is what I'm going to do?
No, I didn't go to film school. The skills of a producer are very much like the skills of an administrator, because it's about or a manager. It's about managing people and processes. So those skills, that's what I've been doing as my 9 to 5. So the skills transfer easily into production. It's about knowing what kind of people you need on your team, getting those people, keeping your team together and focused on the project from script to screen, managing the whole process, and troubleshooting. One of the biggest things about it is troubleshooting. And I think the Heads or Tails was written by a really wonderfully talented new screenwriter, Dennis Nelson, and this is the first thing that Dennis has had produced. And I did tell him he had a very specific vision for this script, and of course my vision is not going to be the same as his vision. So I did tell him, though, that he has such a strong way of looking at his script. He knows what he wants it to look like on the screen. And I did tell him that the next thing he did, he should produce and direct himself. I don't think he's doing that quite yet, but I really think he should. If you have a strong enough idea of what you want it to look like, I think you should jump in, put on the producer hat and go for it. Just network, meet the people. You're going to find people at all levels and all price points, from very expensive to people who will work with you just because they love your project. Network, meet the people that are going to help you get your film made and make your film.
Okay. So now that logically follows is that you're stepping from your producer's shoes into the director's shoes, just like you told Dennis, was his name?
Yes, Dennis.
Dennis, to go from his director's shoes to the producer's shoes. What's the transition like for you? And are you finding it easy, or are you finding it difficult?
Well, it's a learning curve. I mean, I've worked with directors, so I know what the processes are. But then there's the creative side, which is more instinct than anything else for me. It's if it feels right, if when I look at it, it makes sense to me. It's like it's almost like a visceral reaction. If it appeals to me, then I think it will appeal to other people as well. And if it seems a little bit off to me, then I think it will be a little bit off to other people. So there are the mechanics of anything, and then there's the creative input. So because I didn't formally learn the mechanics, but I did learn from watching and working with directors. I hope I'm hitting it. We'll see when it's finished and all put together and it's presented to the public. We'll see what the reaction is, and if I hit my mark. It'd be great if I did, and if not, I will keep doing it. I'll keep going. I'll try.
If this short, Heads or Tails, if it does well, are you gonna keep working your way into features and directing features?
Well, I already am thinking about another project, which is a web series. So I don't think I'll do just one type of anything. I want to try the web series because this is something else that interests me. So I just want to be able to do what appeals to me.
There's often a lot of question about web series, and one of the interesting questions is, how long do you think an episode of web series should be?
About 5 minutes. 5
minutes, okay. That's kind of what I think too. So.
Yeah.
It should fit on an iPod.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a web series, people will most likely be downloading it to their mobile devices, and you really don't want to watch that. Although kids seem to be able to watch it for 30 minutes to an hour, I think most people about 5 minutes at a time is good enough.